Being a good conversationalist is one of the most valuable skills you could possibly have in today's world for reasons that I'm sure you're aware of, but it's not always that easy. You might feel like you're a little bit introverted, you might feel a little bit insecure about some things about yourself, or you might just feel like you're not interesting enough to have good conversations. But what I'm about to share with you today are just not really tactics, but more just mindset shifts that will help tremendously when you're talking to absolutely anybody. Most importantly, these things are going to make these people like you even more and want to talk to you even more. And so the biggest reason why I think so many people struggle with conversations and talking to people and being in social settings is that they're so focused on themselves that they forget that everybody else is doing the exact same thing. They walk into a room where they're talking to somebody and it's like all they can think about is like, what do I look like? Do I look dumb? Do I sound dumb? What can I say to make them like me more? You're so focused on yourself that you forget that everybody else is doing the exact same thing. The people that you talk to are literally so focused on what they are doing, what they are saying, that they're not thinking about what you're wearing or how cool you sound. They are completely and totally focused on themselves. And so realizing this is half the battle, because when you have all these thoughts in your head about what you are doing, what you are saying, what you're wearing, how you look, what do they think about you, it's like you're blocking the natural kind of flow of the conversation. So the first thing that I think is it's the most important thing you can understand about talking to people or just relationships in general, is that instead of focusing the conversation on what you are doing or what makes you interesting, focus the conversation on making the other person feel interesting. And this might seem like a shock to some people because that's probably the opposite of what you've been doing or what you've heard, because you're always just trying to find things in your head. How can I make myself look cooler to them? How can I make myself look more interesting? But the thing is, when you are in a place or when you are able to make somebody else feel interesting, they are naturally going to become more interested in you. And so not only does this make them more interested in you and more comfortable being around you, it makes them feel significant because, there's not a lot of people love talking about themselves. And if you can make them talk about themselves, they love that. People are interested in themselves. And even if somebody does not like talking about myself, I don't really like talking about myself, but what you will notice is that people do like when other people show genuine interest in their life. And this also just takes a lot of pressure off of you, because if you were before thinking all about what you can say to make yourself look interesting, you probably weren't listening to them as much as you should be. And so if you can't quite understand why people just tend to like people who like them, or people are interested in people who are interested in them, think about, like, if you have a dog, for example, why do you like your dog? Is it because they have all these cool stories and interesting personality traits that just, no, it's because every single time they see you, they are genuinely interested in seeing you. Like, it doesn't matter if you had a bad day or if you look dumb or it doesn't matter. Whenever they see you, they're happy to see you, and there's no strings attached there. It's just unconditional love. And so if you can make the people that you are talking to feel that exact same way, feel that you are genuinely interested in them, feel that you actually want to talk to them, that you're happy to be around them, they will just naturally become happier to be around you, and they will want to talk to you more and more, because when they're around you, when they're talking to you, they feel significant. They feel like they're appreciated, and that is so important. At the end of the day, people don't remember what you said to them. People remember how you made them feel. And if you think back to any of your best conversations you've ever had with somebody, were they the conversations when the person you were talking to was just talking about all these cool things about themselves and they were telling all these cool stories? Probably not. They're the best conversations that you will ever have, the ones that just seem like you just lose track of time and it's just flowing naturally. It's when the other person is just so interested in what you're saying, so drawn, just vibrating on the exact same frequency as you, that time just is not a thing. It's like you feel seen, you feel significant, and obviously if you were probably doing the exact same thing to them, and that is why you two had such a good conversation, and you probably are able to recreate that exact same thing with that same person, because you kind of have this sense of you both make each other feel important and seen and interesting. But the thing is, you cannot fake genuine interest. People can see, if you're just trying to act like you're interested in somebody's life, but you're not really interested, this won't work, because people can see right through what you're doing. You have to actually come into a mindset, come into a place where you really want to know more about this person. You want to know what makes them tick. You want to find the things that they love and steer the conversation in that direction. And obviously you don't have to let them talk the entire time, but I think it is important to listen more than you talk. Just the topics that you talk about, make them the topics that they are interested in. If they say something that interests you, if you can kind of chime in on something that they're talking about that they like, go ahead, because it doesn't matter if you're talking and they're listening. you're talking about something that they enjoy talking about. They're interested in it. It'll make it almost impossible to have a bad conversation or have a conversation where the other person does not enjoy it. Call people by their name. And it sounds so simple, but you probably don't do this as much as you should. If you just think about, if you had a conversation with somebody and they're just calling you like bro or homie, you hear that all the time. But when somebody says your name, it is so personal. When you hear your name, when you hear somebody else say their name, they're basically telling you that they think you're significant. It makes you feel significant because your name is the essence of your identity. It's very personal to you. And so you're acknowledged by saying their name, you're basically just acknowledging their existence, which in today's world where people don't normally do that, it's huge. But you got to think, like, if you're talking to somebody and they don't remember your name, or even worse, they call you by the wrong name, how does that make you feel? It makes you feel pretty insignificant, because if you know their name, it's like you weren't a big enough thing in their mind and you weren't important enough for them to remember your name. And so just that little thing, just by saying their name and letting them know that you know their name, it's so huge, and people will love you for that. Avoid damaging somebody's self-esteem or people's self-esteem like it is your job. That is the last thing you want to do. Do your very best. Even if somebody says something that just makes you upset or something that you know is incorrect or wrong, make it such a conscious effort to not damage their self-esteem. I mean, criticizing somebody or damaging somebody's self-esteem is honestly just completely worthless for both people. But it might be hard sometimes, especially if somebody says something that is just outrageous and you know is wrong, or something that you just don't agree with. But like pointing out somebody's weaknesses or telling somebody why their way of living is wrong, it doesn't serve any purpose. Because even if you get in an argument and you're criticizing somebody and you point out a flaw in their argument or in their personality, and they agree with you, even when you leave the conversation, even when it's done, they're still going to come up with reasons in their mind for why you were wrong and why they are right, even if they did agree with you. And so all that's going to happen is that they are going to associate you with them feeling less. And that is just not useful at all for anybody, which is why I will say, and I guess this is kind of with the topic of conversation, but avoid arguments as much as you possibly can. Very few arguments are actually worth it, because like, dude, there's just no point. It's like you and somebody else are competing on who views the world the correct way. And how somebody views the world, how you view the world, is a large part of who you believe you are, who you think you are. And so if somebody is challenging that, if you challenge somebody else's worldview, you're basically just challenging the essence of who they are. I don't care if theirs is morally incorrect. It does not matter. You will save so much energy, so much mental space, so much mental real estate, so much mental health just by avoiding arguments. And if you happen to get into one, let them win. It's not that deep. And so one of the last things I want to talk about, and something that is a little bit out there or a little bit like woo-woo-ish, as people say, is that when you are going to approach somebody, if you're going to talk to somebody, visualize them, imagine them doing something that makes them happy. It does not matter what it is. The first image that pops in your mind when you look at somebody, what does that look like? What does them being happy look like? And if you can visualize that kind of before and during your conversation with somebody, you're going to find that, I promise you, this is just, I don't understand why it works, but you're going to find that they are just naturally going to gravitate towards you. It's so interesting. And it kind of comes back to like the first thing that I said, and the biggest principle of this video as a whole, of, you know, making them feel interesting. Because when you visualize somebody, or when you imagine somebody that you're talking to just genuinely happy and genuinely fulfilled, it's like you are almost vibrating on a frequency that is aligned with their best interest. And so they're just going to feel more comfortable around you. And you're going to see that. And I highly encourage you to try this. So if you can do all these things, if you can focus your conversations on making the other person feel significant, feel interesting, calling them by their name, not criticizing them or not, you know, ruining their self-esteem. And then that last thing, you know, where you visualize them just being happy and doing something that makes them happy, the first thing that pops in your head, I promise you, conversations will just come so natural to you, and people are going to genuinely enjoy being around you and genuinely enjoy talking to you, because you bring out the best in them, and you make them feel important and seen, and most of all, happy. And then there are the things that I think are just the givens. Make eye contact as much as you can. Present yourself nicely, like have good hygiene. Come on, it's not that hard. And then just listen more than you speak, and I promise you, you'll have it all figured out. So that's all I got for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions or comments or things you want me to talk about in the future, videos, just let me know. I'm going to be obviously posting more videos in the near future, but again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Till next time, peace out.